Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today we're going to be opening up and unboxing a promo box which came with the core box for Middara. Now this is one that I did an unboxing for last week. I'm really excited for this one and wanted to show you guys some of the Kickstarter promo materials that came along with that base game experience. We'll also be, as part of these unboxings, be moving into a playthrough, which is going to be considered part of a showcase here on Rolling Solo that's going to start up within about a week of this video landing. So we're going to be jumping into an actual playthrough where you can see the game in action. I'm going to be going in for a nice deep dive into Middara. Of course, we won't play through the entire thing, and we're not going to play through a ton of it, as there is definitely spoilers as we go along. So we'll get a good handful of scenarios in to give you a good idea as to how the game plays. We'll also get the rules nailed down correctly and also give you a good idea on the best way to truly play solo in Middara, which I'm really excited for. And we also we'll be focusing on the adventure mode, because there's two modes within Middara. One is the adventure, and you have kind of the crawl mode, which is essentially a mode that allows you to play kind of one-off scenarios. So we're going to focus on the adventure mode so you get an idea as to how the campaign play really works out. And I think that's going to help people make an informed decision when Middara hits Kickstarter in summer of 2019, which is this year. So that's another fantastic thing with this, is most Kickstarters come out and there's usually quite a long delay before the reprint comes, where people can jump on if they miss the first time through. But this Kickstarter reprint's happening very, very soon. So if you are interested in it, you'll have a chance. And I'm hoping these videos can inform you on whether or not this product is for you. It may be, it may not be, but the point of these videos is to show you how Middara works, how it flows, how it plays, and how to actually play the game. So without further ado, we've already done the first unboxing for the 20-pound monster. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely go check that video first before you see this, because this is a much smaller box than that beast that we opened before. And then we're going to crack into this promo box in this video. And then after this, within a week of this video landing, we're going to dive into a showcase with the playthrough, and I really hope to see you guys all there. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's crack this box open and see what's inside. So after dumping all the contents on the table, it appears we have a number of things in this particular promo box. We have some more miniatures, which I'm assuming are going to represent some more of the enemies within the game. Of course, there are standees within Middara, for those wondering, but there's also miniatures involved as well. And so you're going to see a number of those represented here from the promo box. Again, likely, I won't promise this, but likely that the promos you're seeing here will return in the upcoming Kickstarter. That would make a lot of sense. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do that, but take that with a grain of salt in case that gets changed. But I really do believe that their intention is to reprint the entire campaign from the beginning, plus add in some additional content going forward for the future. So it's supposed to be kind of a mix for new individuals into the project, as well as individuals that are already part of the Middara universe, being a backer from years ago. So what you're seeing here is a number of things. First off, you're seeing some cards. So you've got some linked adventure cards here, which is awesome. So again, these cards right here are going to be some of the cards that are going to allow me to do what I want to do with the two-player variant. So that's really exciting. So if the cards are in here, I can use these cards, or I can actually go to the Succubus Publishing site, and there's actually downloads to get that information for the hero cards. So you can play, you don't need more than just a card or two for each of the two characters you choose to play. That'll make a lot more sense when I start to do that in my adventure, but essentially, instead of playing with 4 characters and handling and managing 4, I'm going to be actually controlling 2, or bringing 2 of them into a game at a time, keeping the amount of things to be managed down to a minimum. And these linked cards right here give you different statuses, passive abilities, and extra health that essentially bolster the 2 characters you have, so that you're basically using 4 characters worth of strength, but only actually managing 2 of them in a particular scenario. It's a really smart way of handling it, especially for solo, because we all have games out there where we want to play solo, but managing multiple characters can be quite a big headache. So I'm really excited to show you guys that way of playing solo, which I truly believe is the most efficient way to play this game in a solo capacity. So we've also got character cards here as well. There's probably going to be some enemy cards mixed in too. We've got some items, initiative cards for some of the new characters that are going to be in these packs. We'll go through all of these as well. So Some more bases, of course, because if you got more miniatures, you're going to need more bases. So what we'll do is we'll take a quick dive here, take a close-up look at the miniatures first, and then we'll get ourselves into the cards. All right, so now the miniatures are out of the way, we're going to take a look at some of the bases. So just quickly here, you can see some of the bases included in the promo box. We won't focus on those too long because we're all familiar with these snap-on bases, but these represent different categories of enemies and how to categorize them based on the card that you're using to represent those groups of enemies. So we'll slide those out of the way for now, but it's always nice to have more of those to snap on as more enemies come into play. Next, we're going to take a close-up look at all of the different adventurer cards as well as the enemies that come in this promo box. So first off, we're going to start here with Kjax Mackenzie, and you can see all the stats all the way down at the bottom of that as well. And conviction casting, it shows the ability there in the middle section as well as the stamina for this particular character. Most of them, if not all of them, start at 3, but their max is 5, at least currently on the card, unless of course an ability states otherwise. So these are going to be adventurers, and if I flip this one over, you actually get a nice little print about the actual adventure that you have chosen to use. So you can pause the screen to read that if you're interested. Here is another adventurer joining the fray as well as the stats down below. And you can see here the abilities and things like that are much different. Stamina stays the same, but a much different looking character. And again, story on the back if you're interested in wondering more about how this character came to be. Another thing that's really cool that I'll definitely mention during the showcase is the lore for the game, which is really well fleshed out in a fantastic video on Succubus Publishing's YouTube site. They actually have a video that goes through all of the lore within the world so you can become accustomed to how this world operates and what the differences between Middara and Earth are and how people are traveling between the two places and all this kind of stuff. So it's really cool that they went to that level in order to explain the world. So if you really watch that lore video, you will learn a lot more than the book or some of the content even in the base game cares to explain. Again, it goes a little deeper into the story. And here's another character to add to the fray. Again, you can always notice these stats are always changing, which is really cool. Some of them are staying the same, but most of the stats are changing and the characters all have unique abilities. So this is really cool seeing all these additional characters joining the fray to give you nice replayability options there. So very, very cool artwork all the way around. Again, skills are very different. Ability in the middle section is always something unique to the character. It'll be interesting to actually check these out off camera, when I can really soak them in myself to determine really what the differences are. Next up here we have another adventurer, the Black Wolf. It's pretty cool. One with Nature is the passive ability. And then again, the backstory. So if you want to read the backstories and the characters, you can just pause the screen to do so. And then we've got another one here. Again, different. Pew Pew is the passive skill. That's pretty awesome. And actually, we do have an enemy card here, a group of enemies. So animates. Yes, these are really cool. One of the coolest artwork photos that I've seen in this game was this one. So that's really awesome. I think we do get miniatures. We saw them already of this particular group here. So that's really awesome. So there's all their abilities and essentially how their AI works, starting at the top and working its way down. So very, very cool, including the dice that it rolls, unless of course something changes that, but it looks like that's pretty standard for him. So, and again, on the back, you even get some nice information about where this character comes from and why it's here and all that good stuff. So the lore is always nice. So that is the pile there of the larger size cards. Maybe we'll dive into the linked adventurer cards, which I'm really curious about next. All right, now these ones I'm really excited to talk about. This is the Linked Adventure, which really allows you to open up that 2-player variant or 3-player variant that's available in Middara, which I truly, as I stated before, is the most efficient way to play solo, which is why I definitely want to go that route during the showcase, which is upcoming right away here after this video lands. I'm excited for this because I've been doing this off camera, and I really think this truly is the best way to play. So basically what would happen in this setup essentially is you would go ahead and choose 2 characters to play with. So let's say hypothetically you chose Remy and you also chose Rook. Well, you go ahead and you take a look at these linked adventures, and from the beginning of the campaign or adventure mode, you would obviously not be able to use Rook to link onto somebody that's already in play. So you can't use these 2 because I've already selected them. But of the 2 beginning characters, these are the other 2. And you'll notice they have statuses, they have passive abilities and things that you can gain. You simply connect them to a character that you've then brought into the game. And just like that, what you've done is you've effectively removed the ability to have to manage 4 different characters at once. And in turn, what you've done is you've strengthened the 2 characters that you've brought into the game. They gain some extra health, they gain an extra stamina point, they also gain an ability. And they gain an ability based on that particular character that you've linked's ability. So it's a quick and easy way, without introducing a whole bunch of cards or any kind of management, to be able to handle basically powering up your people enough to bring only 2 characters into a scenario. So the balancing is still just right, and also knocks down the initiative track in terms of how many people are initiating. And it's also awesome for solo play from the standpoint of, we all have games where you're controlling or forced to control 4 or more characters in a particular solo session. And it can really become kind of a hand management nightmare. And even explaining the game can seem like a nightmare because you're activating 4 heroes before you finally see an enemy activate. And again, it all depends on the initiative and where they're sitting. But this way, it gets things moving quicker. Those rounds are going by faster, which means you get more games in, which means you progress through the campaign quicker. You might get 2 games in versus just 1 if you had 4 actual full-on characters to control. So this is the reason why I'm super excited for these cards. Now, if you don't have the promo box for some strange reason available to you, all those files for those linked adventures are actually on Succubus Publishing's website, or you can actually just go and pick up the PDF copy and either print them out yourself to use them or just reference them straight off the site. So the promo box has them printed out, which is fantastic. I'll definitely be using these and have been using these during the actual plays off camera. Of course, I've been using the website's version of these cards. So now that I've opened this up, this promo box finally, I can actually use the actual printed cards during the showcase, which I'm excited for. And now that really sums up everything. So really what happens is you've got a whole bunch of characters that have entered the world of Middara, and they're all going to have different things. Now, the things that'll stay constant is that every single one of them is going to have like a gain 1 stamina point and gain 12 HP. That is going to be the same on every single one of these. But what makes each of them unique is their major ability that you can choose to exhaust in some cases. Some of them are passive, some of them are kind of upgrades, but they're all based on the character you've chosen to link. And again, they're all based on the actual character card, which is this giant card right here that represents them if you truly wanted to play as them. And some of these are unobtainable until you hit certain milestones in the campaign. So you can't just grab these right off the cuff. You have to stick, when you're playing the adventure mode, with the 4 individuals that are available to you at the start of that campaign. Now, if you're playing the crawl mode, it's a different story. You can still do the 2-player variant in the crawl mode, but you can have access to all of these cards if you so choose to, although I guess there's a little element of spoilers, or you might see some abilities that you wouldn't have seen unless you were far enough along in the campaign. So hopefully that's a decent rundown overview of kind of what those linked adventures are all about. We're going to dive into this pack of cards next. All right, so we got ourselves a whole bunch of cards here. I'll show you the back of these because some of them are going to be rare, some of them are going to be uncommon, and they're going to be different types of cards, whether they're relics, accessories, weapons, because this is all promo stuff. This is really just going to bolster the decks of cards that I've already organized out of the main box. But of course, these are going to be nice special thank yous to the community based on the Kickstarter that was fulfilled and is being fulfilled as we speak. So a lot of really cool extra weapons to be found. And of course, the more the better, right? Because the more options you have, there you go. If you want to be throwing an anchor around, that's always good. Cannons, you got yourself needles, box press cigars, That's awesome. So all kinds of things here that were added in as a result of the Kickstarter. They're really, really cool and unique. Liar's Dice, that's pretty cool. This one says, per encounter, after rolling for any reason, choose the result of 1 die. That's kind of cool. Bad Man's Locket. So just all kinds of stuff to further bolster what's already in the game, and just those massive decks of cards that I already went through in the first unboxing. So pretty cool. And there's a really powerful bodysuit of armor. Wow, that's really good. That has got to be the rare one I saw at the beginning. Yeah, that's a rare armor. That is crazy. Okay, so finally, the last thing to talk about in this is that tiny little deck of cards at the very top. We'll crack that open and see what's inside. So what do we have here? We have initiative cards, and there's a whole bunch of them for all the different individuals that just got added in through the promo box. So again, majority of them are adventurers, and there's 1 new enemy. So here we go. These are just basically representations, again, for that initiative meter or chart or row or whatever you want to call it, in terms of who's going first and when. So you're going to have 1 representing each of the characters, and then of course you got your big bat at the end there. A couple groups of them actually, animate 1 to 2 or animate 2 to 4, so those represent 2 different groups. So that is going to conclude the unboxing for the promo box. Again, we saw lots of nice, interesting things added in here. Of course, we got some brand new miniatures, we got some bases, some extra cards to add in, everything to bolster the game. You can expect that this content will be part of the next Kickstarter, so if you did miss out on the original one, you will be able to pick this stuff up. Again, if you're playing solo and you receive this game in the mail from the original backing of the first Kickstarter, absolutely make sure you use these linked adventure cards. They were meant to make your life easier when playing solo. So that is a big, big tip for those out there that are playing the game. And also, we will definitely be doing so in the upcoming showcase, and I cannot wait to see you guys all there and get all the feedback as we go through our adventure. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.